It is time to sink the pink on the Equity.Guru Investor Roundtable, talking about PINK, P-I-N-K, on the Toronto Venture Exchange. That would be Perimeter Medical Imaging, based in Dallas and also in Toronto. And the head honcho is Jeremy Sabota. He is the Chief Executive Officer. I'm going to read this right off their website. Perimeter Medical Imaging AI is a pioneering medical technology company driven to transform cancer surgery with ultra-high resolution, real-time advanced imaging tools that address unmet medical needs. What does that mean, Chris Perry?
Well, I've got a lot of experience with Perimeter Medical Imaging. They've been a client for quite a while, and the nutshell explanation of them is if you're going under breast cancer surgery, your surgeon is trying to remove anything cancerous from your bits, and generally speaking has to eyeball what he or she can see as being something that would want to be taken out. This is not optimal, because if you miss anything, it's going to show up on a scan 2 weeks later. If you take too much, then you're taking part of a person's body away that should still be there. So right now, you've got a lot of second surgeries, even third surgeries. You've got a lot of outcomes that you would love to get the tumor out quickly, and instead you find there's still some in there. Perimeter Medical Imaging takes a scan of the space and uses AI to compare what it sees with existing data of cancerous tumors, and can say to the doctor, there's still some more here. There's a little bit here you missed. You missed a spot, which means ideally you can get everything out in one hit instead of having to go away and then come back again, go away and come back again. This is a major deal in the US, whereas we are obviously clear, there's a lot of breast cancer surgery that goes on. Breast cancer is a major affliction, and it's taken far too many of our wives, grandmothers, mothers, sisters, friends, and colleagues. So anything that we can invest in as people that can have a positive outcome to that, you go beyond just profits. I'm happy to have my money into this company to be helping it do a thing that is going to make the world an actual better place. We're literally curing cancer here, which isn't something we can usually say on the small cap public markets. The other thing I'll say is that this technology lends itself to far more areas than just breast cancer, but breast cancer is the one for which it has been approved. And the company is at the phase now, not of needing to demonstrate that this works. They know it works, but to actually sell it to hospitals, which isn't such a difficult thing to do when you're reducing the expense for hospitals and insurance companies on getting patients back to kicking.
Let's go deep, TK. TK Indicena, deep on this company.
So I think what sticks out to most investors when they first look at it is the company is pre-sales, another fancy term for hasn't generated sales yet, but it does have grants that it gets from the government for the research that it does on cancer prevention. So it's teamed up with the Research Institute of Texas and the province of Ontario to provide research on cancer prevention. So it gets these grants quarterly that kind of look like revenue at the time, but it's just extra funding to push back money into the actual equipment itself. So if you quickly look at their income statement, for example, you notice the first line item is the grants, is what they have. So they bring in money from grants and also raising cash from the public markets. And they've been pretty successful of doing that so far because of the initial project that's behind what they're trying to raise cash for. So for example, in December, they had a cash balance of $10 million. And in June this year, they were able to raise more cash through the warrants that were exercised with some of their options, of another $3 million in the account. And they only spend close to $7 million per quarter on the operations, majority of which goes to the employees and the research and development. So what you have is a mixture of a asset-light business that focuses on the technology, trying to leverage its network with people and issuing to hospitals the product that it does have, with a conservative balance sheet, mostly cash. They have more cash than they do have property. So just for a precursor, I think they have $1 million in property and $13 million in cash in the bank. So you can see it's a pretty asset-light business. You're not taking too much off the top. You're spending mostly on research. And that's kind of their business model going forward. So most investors would be skeptical when they look at sales, but they should focus on impact that the company is having outside of that at the beginning.
Now, the fact that you just for about 6 seconds turned into Darth Vader right there was a perfect transition to the chart now, because you said something about the stock and the investor, and that takes us right to the stock and the investor, because Vishal will tell us what the hell's been going on.
Well, Rob, if you guys remember, we were looking at this stock, and I'm just going to move my chart here a bit. We were looking at the stock here at 260. We were saying that, hey, look, guys, this is a major support zone. We could find some support here, but we would like to see that break above $3.20. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. We actually broke down a bit more, and we came down to test a support pretty much at that $2 zone, which you can see here we touched in mid-September. We began to bounce around here, and I really, really like what I am seeing right now. I've drawn a downtrend line here, so without getting too technical, people can tend to see that when you have a slope like this and price is under that trend line, it's bearish or it's in a downtrend, and once you break above that, we get a trend shift. So again, we've seen an uptrend here from January till basically March of this year, where the stock hit highs of around $4.80. And then we saw a downtrend, which took us from $4.80 down to $2. And I'm just hoping that we see, or we are now in the midst of a new uptrend here with a breakout above $2.60 here. So I'm bullish on this stock above $2.60, just on a technical basis here. Of course, catalysts are what we would need to get the stock pumping a bit higher. And I just want to mention, if you guys remember this, back in December 9th of 2020, there was a breast cancer treatment stock, Greenwich Life Science, which skyrocketed more than 2,000% in a day after upbeat data on breast cancer treatment. So, people love this stuff, right? This is stuff that has real world implications, and it's going to help a lot of people. And as Chris said, it's a good story if you want to buy something or invest in something that can improve or beat cancer. Take a look at Perimeter, because I like what I'm seeing. I think the trend here has shifted, and we are in a new uptrend or a new upcycle.
All right. And only one small correction potentially there. I believe it's called Greenwich, but that's okay. I can't guarantee that, but I'm just
Greenwich.
Yeah, I believe it's called Guarantee.
Gray N White. All right, so TK, I'm not sure if you've been involved since we've upped the ante in the month of November. I'm now offering up $7,500 per person of my cash for play money investment.
Because of inflation, right? So.
Yeah, it's inflation. We'll start with Chris and see if he wants to spend that do-si-do as we speak.
Well, look, I'll be open. We've already made our money on this stock. Already we had a nice big wedge of it, I think, in maybe late 2020 at about $2, and in the next months that followed, it got up to about $4.80. I believe we sold off our original stake at $4, and we continue to hold the rest. I like the fact that if I'm at a boring party, I can tell someone I'm an investor in a company that's helping to rid the world of breast cancer. It gets me a little bit of attention in the right way. It makes me feel good karmically, but I also think this thing's going to rocket at some point. My only issue potentially is a couple of quarters back, they said they had about $10 million in cash, and they've since dropped $4 million in Q1 and $3 million in Q2. So that brings it down close to the level. I don't believe that they'd have much trouble raising more money, especially with the stock chart going in a positive direction. But I think right now, with the stock having climbed from $2.10 to near $3 in just the last 6 weeks, if they're not raising money or thinking about it soon, they should. But I'm certainly holding on to what I've got because I expect that I'm going to get another double out of it.
TK.
So in terms of your 7,500, this is a good point to be putting down about 5.
Woo! Sorry, I jumped the gun. $5,000, TK.
I like the cash position. I like the lack of very little debt, but I just don't understand the industry completely. I haven't put enough work in the back end, so I would sit on the line and say $0.
Wow. Well, you better do your homework, young man.
Yes, sir.
You're not curing any cancer over there, TK.
Yeah, exactly. Michelle?
This guy's buying Tesla stock probably, right?
We got nothing.
I'm
Hey,
putting
Elon,
in,
cure cancer. It'll take 3% of your income.
I'm putting in, I'm riding this. I think this is a really good swing trade opportunity, a longer term hold on this one. I think it was triggered once we broke above 260. I'm bullish as long as we maintain that and continue an uptrend. And I'm just like Chris, I think we're in a new uptrend and, we'll see some down days. And when that happens, we will add. I will initially do 3K here. And I think if we do see a pullback to retest 260, I would add 2 more K around that zone. Alternatively, if we break above 320, I would add 2K on that if either of those happens. But I think you just ride this momentum. I think the trend has broken and switched, and we are now in a new swing trade. And you add to your position as long as that trend goes. And I just like the clean, crisp chart here, plus the good fundamentals and the good feeling you get from investing in something that can beat breast cancer.
$8,000 total going towards this investment in Pink.
I should just add, not to make this longer than it was and not to go more nutty than I was, but worth noting that this technology lends itself to other forms of cancer.
There we go.
As the company starts to make money out of the breast cancer side, which I think is low-hanging fruit, they can start applying some of that revenue to approvals in other areas, and that's where I think this thing really blows up.
Anything with tissue assessment.
If you get one device at a hospital just for breast cancer, that's something that you've got to consider. If you get a device for a hospital that can be related to any cancer, then that's a major deal.
All right, there you have it. TK, I was going to tell you we had a Gretzky reference earlier this week, or last week, and I was going to throw one at you. Gretzky said you don't score on 100% of the shots you don't take. So while these guys are, out there eating around with $8,000,
TK knows that one well.
You're
shoot is how he describes it, I believe.
But then again, you don't have to worry about losing anything because you're not spending anything. But we'll also tell this to the folks out there. You can follow TK's advice. He says he needs to do more homework. You folks need to do more homework as well because we can't guarantee a damn thing. Past results do not guarantee future performance, nor do what we say. Was that a sentence? It is Pink. Jeremy Sabota is the CEO out of Dallas in Texas. It's Perimeter Medical Imaging. And this has been the Equity Guru Investor Roundtable.